You're alone in your kitchen on a Saturday morning. Nobody else is home. You open the fridge, look inside, and out loud, with your actual voice, you say, "Okay, what do we have here?" Then you take out the milk. You say, "Ah, there it is." You close the fridge. You walk to the cabinet. You mumble something about the coffee being almost gone. None of this is unusual. You do this all day. You do it in the shower. You do it in the car. You do it walking through a store. You do it looking for your keys, narrating to nobody. Where are you? Where did I put you? And here's the thing nobody ever says out loud. You are not actually alone in those moments. There is a conversation happening. Somebody is speaking, and somebody is listening, and both of them are you. Today I want to tell you who you're really talking to when you talk to yourself, because the answer is not what you think. It is much older than you, much sadder than you realize, and once you see it, you will hear your own voice differently for the rest of your life. Let's start with how strange this is. Surveys consistently show that almost every adult human talks to themselves out loud at some point during the day. Not just inner thoughts, actual words, actual sounds, leaving an actual mouth in an actual empty room. And the rate is not small. We're talking about most of us, most days. But here's the part that gives the whole thing away. Almost nobody admits to it. If you ask people directly, do you talk to yourself out loud? You get a lot of nervous laughter, a lot of, well, sometimes, a lot of only when nobody's around. We hide it. We're embarrassed by it. We've absorbed somewhere along the way that talking to yourself is a sign that something is wrong, that you've slipped, that you're a little bit cracked. And so we do it constantly and pretend we don't. Now think about that. The most universal human behavior, hidden by almost everyone who does it. That kind of secrecy only happens around things we don't understand. So let's actually try to understand it. And to do that, we have to look at the only place where this trait is properly weird, the rest of the animal world. Animals communicate. They communicate a lot. Dolphins click and whistle to each other. Wolves howl to their pack. Chimpanzees scream warnings. Prairie dogs have specific calls for specific predators. Songbirds practice their songs. Animals are noisy, social, vocal beings. But here is what almost no animal does. Sit alone in a quiet space and start having a conversation with itself. A dolphin doesn't sit by itself in the water muttering about its day. A wolf doesn't pace alone in a clearing, narrating where it left the bone. Solitary self-talk, the kind where the animal speaks audibly to an audience of one, and that one is itself, is essentially a human trait. It shows up clearly in humans, and almost nowhere else in such a developed form. Which is strange, because if this were just a quirk of having language, you'd expect a few other vocal species to drift into it too. They don't. Something else is going on. Something specific happened in the human nervous system that made it not just able to talk to itself, but compelled to, as if our brains literally cannot do their job in complete silence. And the reason for that goes back to a very specific thing about how the human mind was built. It was not built to think alone. Picture a small group of humans 200,000 years ago, 150 people at most, what anthropologists call Dunbar's number, the natural size of a tight tribe. Now imagine being inside that group. You are almost never alone. You sleep beside other bodies. You eat with others. You walk with others. You wake up with the sound of other voices already in motion. And here is the part that modern people forget. Almost every important thought you ever had in that world was checked against another voice immediately. You'd start to say, "I think the antelope went that way," and someone would say, "No, I saw them go the other way." You'd start to say, "I'm scared of the river tonight," and someone would say, "You're right, something feels off, let's not cross." You'd start to say, "That man is acting strange," and the elder next to you would nod or shake his head and tell you what they remembered from 20 years ago. Your thoughts were not private. They were a constant back and forth with the tribe. The mind, in that environment, was never a sealed chamber. It was a relay. A thought formed in you, came out as words, and only felt fully real once another voice had touched it. That's how the human brain learned to think. Not in silence, in a chorus. And evolution does not undo something that took 200,000 years to build, just because we moved into apartments. So now look at what your brain is actually doing when you talk to yourself out loud. You're walking around your kitchen. You open the fridge. The thought forms inside you. We're running low on coffee. But that thought, for your nervous system, does not feel finished. It does not feel real yet. It is still floating. So your body does the thing it has done for 200,000 years. It pushes the thought out through your voice, into the air, as if there is someone else in the room who needs to hear it. And then, because there isn't, you do something extraordinary. You become the other person too. You hear yourself say it. You receive it. Your nervous system registers, somebody just heard that thought. And only now, after the relay has completed, does the thought feel real and complete. You are not crazy. You are not lonely in a sad way. You are running the oldest cognitive software your species has ever used. You are speaking, and you are listening for the tribe to respond. And when the tribe doesn't, you play their part too, so the thought doesn't die in the air. Every time you mutter to yourself in the kitchen, you are conducting a tiny ceremony for a missing audience. You are calling out, very quietly, to the people who used to be there and answering on their behalf. It is one of the most human things a person can do. And once you hear it that way, the rest of this video should land differently. There's a reason you've probably noticed this happening more in the last few years, not less. The world we built does not look like the one our nervous system was built for. Most of us now spend a huge part of the day without another human voice in the room. We live alone, or with one other person who is in another room. We work from home. We eat alone at our desks. We commute with headphones in our ears. We scroll our phones in elevators, in waiting rooms, and bus stops, and the actual sound of other humans speaking nearby has become rarer than it has ever been in the history of our species. And yet, our brains are still expecting the chorus. They are still expecting that almost every thought will be met by another voice. When the chorus doesn't show up, the brain doesn't shut off the system. It just plays both parts. The quieter the room gets around you, the louder the muttering becomes inside it. People who live alone notice this. People in long lockdowns notice this. Almost everyone caught themselves having longer and longer little conversations with no one, and quietly wondered if something was wrong. Nothing was wrong. You were not falling apart. You were a deeply social animal, trying to keep its mind working in a kind of silence that doesn't really exist in our evolutionary memory. If you've ever found yourself talking to your plant, your dog, your steering wheel, your laptop, that's the same system reaching for any voice it can lend to the missing tribe. If this is landing for you, drop a comment telling me what you say to yourself most often, and where. I want to read these. I think they're going to tell us something about what people are quietly missing. Now here's where I want this to land in your actual life. The first thing I want you to do is stop being embarrassed about it. The next time you catch yourself walking through your apartment narrating where you put your phone, or saying, "Ah, there it is," out loud when you find your wallet, do not flinch. Do not feel slightly cracked. That is a healthy nervous system running an ancient and beautiful protocol in the absence of the people it was built to run it with. The second thing is more useful. If you ever need to think clearly about a hard decision, do not try to do it in your head. Talk yourself through it, out loud, on a walk, in the car, in a room where nobody else is. You will get a better answer faster than you would have gotten in silence. Your brain wants the relay. Give it the relay. That is how it has solved problems for as long as it has been a brain. And the third thing, the one I really want to leave you with, is this. Listen to the tone of the voice you use when you talk to yourself, because it's not really only you, it's the tribe you're playing. And if the voice you use is harsh, impatient, contemptuous, that means you've been quietly playing the part of a harsh tribe for yourself in every quiet moment of your life. If the voice you use is warm, curious, kind, you've been giving yourself a different kind of company. The tribe you imagine when you're alone, the one whose voice you borrow, is one of the most important things about who you are when no one is watching. Choose it. Subscribe if you want more videos that quietly explain why you are the way you are. And until next time, take care of the voice you give yourself in the quiet rooms. It is the village you carry with you everywhere you go.